You were
Hi. Hi, Elizabeth.
Susan. So nice to see you again.
Oh my gosh. So nice to see you too. And you process called me today over text, girl.
No, it's so funny because I know I messed up. I was like, oh shoot, I forgot. But life gets crazy. We have a lot going on. Nothing's like ducks in a row all the time.
hmm
But then it was helpful because of the I had it's so interesting. The assignments that we're doing in class. um, is like positive self-talk. And I had read this book by an author called Shad Helmstetter. He's like a PhD, and it's kind of like a positive self-talk thing. But I realized that it's not just the self-talk anymore. It has to be like multiple things. Like it's not just because it doesn't appear anymore in the form of like you're not enough, nobody likes you, you're fat. Like it's not any of that. It's
hmm
different. It's like, oh, I have a mood shift and I don't really know why my mood shift. And there's the self-talk behind that. And then so I was like, let me just clear it up with Susan and
hmm
just be like, hey, because I'm having like this remnants of self-doubt. And I'm like, well, what happened? Did I say something? Which kind of like is what you said. But you are incredible. And it's amazing to have someone that will like take the information, not be offended, not be like, oh, she's weird, which I've gotten before, right? Or not just me, that's a human thing. People will do that. They don't want to go into it. So I really appreciate that you're like, oh no, yeah, like let's go into it. And
No, it was 50-50. Or my 100. My 100 for sure was like, I'm a little bit in La La Land, so I wasn't, but I need to not abandon myself. You know what
okay.
I mean? So this is so good that you are as into it as I am because that makes it special for us. Like we're both getting what we want from these debriefs. This week, wait, what did we do this week? Oh, it was like about coaching. You had good questions. You had good questions.
Mm. Ooh.
It was something about your client.
Well, yeah. Um,
Give
oh,
me
it was that's funny. I think my question was, what happens when a client they want to well, you know that we're talking about like matrix, our matrix, like our patterns, and the way that we adapted, and then helping to people, like essentially like zooming out to help people see like what their patterns are that no longer serve them,
Mhm.
and create a slew of things, negative feelings, negative relationships, or roadblocks to the next version of themselves. So essentially, my question was, what happens when someone's goal is a very tangible thing, which isn't an issue, but we're in emergence coaching. So it's like, what if they're putting some like this goal to achieve something and they don't see like that there's like an underlying reason. So I think there's a lot of different ways, right? Like for example, if I wanted to get a certification and I didn't trust myself to get it. Well, I'm saying I want to work on getting my certification with you,
Mhm.
like if you're my coach. But what would you be looking for when I say, well, do you want to do that really quick? Like,
Yeah,
like
let's do
say it
it.
out
Let's
because,
do it.
okay, so I'm the client, you're the coach, and I'm like, hey, I really, actually, why don't I just do something that's actually like something that I want to go for?
Okay. Nice.
Just do that because
Okay, bring it. I love
I've
this.
gotten certificate like multiple certifications, so that doesn't apply to me. But
Okay.
all right, so real thing is I started my an LLC and I'm a consultant and I've worked in my field for about 12 years now. I'm pretty confident in what I provide and what I know. And I'm very strong at like finding solutions, finding issues. And one of the things that I mentioned like to you before, I believe, is that um I can have an issue and a solution to it and have trouble being heard. And I know that I'm not conventional, I'm not traditional, I'm not cookie cutter. I mean, literally, you could have checked me in any institution that I've been, and I've never been like the cookie cutter fit in here ever. Like never. Like you can talk to anybody ever and they would agree. So, I got coined the Lizisms,
Mm,
Liz Bunny or Hurricane Liz, like different things, but um just giving you that information, but like my concern now is like my goal is to, break free of that and be able to have the right rapport and like be really successful in consulting. Um, I don't want to do this if I don't give it all and if I don't crush it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do anything in life if I don't give it my all and crush it. So my that's my goal to
right,
in my consulting firm, and I also have this fear, obviously, one of failing, two of succeeding. Okay, so I'm gonna put that on pause. That is my example of the client,
right. Got
like
you.
saying this goal, but then there's like this underlying, this is kind of like a tangible thing,
Yeah,
but there's the underlying, like all the underlying emotions. So that was kind of like the questions that I had in the class. But
yeah,
anyway, back to me, you being my
yeah,
client.
yeah. So I heard what you said.
Mhm.
I heard where you are having some um incongruencies with not being heard, your Liz's Elizabethisms. Um, but can you give me just that clear outcome that you'd like from our talk today?
From our talk today. I feel like I'm having a hard time really pinpointing exactly what it is, and I feel some fear coming up, and it feels very like prominent, like in my, what do they call it, solar plexus,
Mhm.
and kind of up. And I think there's multiple things that is not very clear. It's um being on my own, being the final decision maker, and having to do it all, even though I have.
It's
Am
okay.
I
You're doing great.
worried? Yeah, and worried that it gets so good and so big, and how can I handle it? And ah, how can I find the right people and align with the right people and make it sustainable long term? And it feels huge, like in a way, I'm like, there's this really fervent part of me that's like, I could do this. I want to. And there's this part of me that's like, remember how hard things were? Remember how hard it was, and someone's telling you you're too young, and someone doesn't believe you, so you have to pull out the law and be ruthless. And I just remember having to be ruthless and just being like, so I feel like I'm not being clear on what I want. And maybe that is like me wanting to get clearer. Maybe that's the goal.
So getting clear on who you want or what you want. I didn't catch that.
And what I want.
Getting
Well,
clear on what
know
you
what I want. I guess I'm just having some doubt.
okay.
I know
So
what I want.
you know what you want, then what is the doubt? If you know what you want, what part are you doubting about what you want?
I think it's just like a remnants of ugh, I felt a feeling. I don't think there's a problem anymore.
Mm,
I think
all
this
right, well,
this reminds okay, I'm gonna tell you real quick what I just thought of. I think I'm just the final energy, the remnants of old thoughts and patterns.
mm,
My husband and I went cliff diving once, and I have been like I was born with fear of heights, I suppose, and I've always been afraid of heights. So I've always done things to be like, I don't want to be afraid of this. So I went skydiving, I rode a helicopter, I, get on planes all the time. I rode roller coasters all the time to try to get away from that. But that like existential energy comes up all the time, like regardless. Like when I went to the Edge in New York City, like it was still like there, like this rise of adrenaline, like when I see like the depth, when I have that depth perception. So my husband and I went cliff diving, and he's like, all right, we're gonna do this. And I'm like asking questions so that I can feel comfortable, and I'm asking questions, and I'm like, well, what about, and then what do I do? And do I hold my nose and da da da, and does the water go up your nose, all this stuff. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. So I feel like, and I was just gauging like what I was doing.
yeah.
And so I feel like right now feels very much like that. Like I'm trying to understand all the ways that this is gonna happen,
Mm-hmm.
bracing myself for impact, but I'm jumping. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm jumping.
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't really have any. I feel like I understand
Right.
all the angles at this point, and
Okay.
I'm a feeler. So I'm feeling my way through
Yeah.
this change. Ah!
Yeah. That's awesome. That's amazing. So maybe you just needed to be heard by someone who actually hears you, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it's really just you hearing you.
Yeah.
Because to me, what was coming up was, and I wouldn't necessarily coach someone this way, but
Right. This is different
this
for
is
sure.
just, I'm going to give you my feedback. Like, you know, you were talking about being aligned with other people. And to me, that's like you needed to come into alignment with yourself, right? Like you just need to, like bring all those Elizabeths together and just have it all be aligned. Call all those parts of you in to be on board with it, to be on board with the plan. I think that's what happens when we talk about the outcome we desire.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you know I'm going to go back and I am going to ask you what outcome you want. I am going to ask you that again, even though you feel complete what my
Yeah,
things
as far
attach.
as right,
Mhm,
and I could do the work, that's clear. I've I even if I don't know something, I'm very resourceful. I have the agency to do it. I always figure it out. And and then there's boundaries and things that I don't want to particularly do. So like I do have resources to lean on, which I feel lucky about that as well. But I think what I really want is I guess I wanted the reaffirmation and what I really want to feel like is that I got this under control.
mhm,
That I'm gonna know I'm gonna make the best decisions and the best choices when things do get challenging, which they will because that's life. Things always get challenging. That I can trust myself when things get challenging. That I that when things get challenging, I'm able to unfold in a productive, efficient, effective, sound manner. Um, and I think that again, like remnants of self-doubt and stuff like that. But um, you
that
know,
makes sense because you have all of these experiences that went in ways that weren't necessarily what you expected,
yeah,
and yes, there was growth, and you learned, which is part of being young, you know, because it's new. So maybe there was some truth around it. Who knows, because I'm young compared to some of my counterparts at work. So I'm still learning when I make a mistake,
yeah,
when I say something that I should have slept on,
mm,
and then thought about. Anyhow,
yeah,
you know, what I've been finding really useful is using AI in that way because I've been reactive and gotten in my own story and I'll present it to chat and like, this is the scenario. Am I, what do you think? Am I overreacting? And, AI will give me a pretty non-attached outcome. And that's been so helpful.
mm,
Just to understand, like, and my chat knows me pretty well now. And it'll say, because you went through this, this is probably why you're experiencing this with that interaction.
interesting.
So that's what's been helping me because it's like that they don't know me. Like I could call my boss, I could call you, I could call, my sister, some you will probably still give me biased feedback because you just have my back, Like you won't understand all of the intricacies that I'm reacting from. So
Mm,
anyhow, now that you are branching out on your own, you have new tools is what I'm saying, whether it's AI or whether it's your EQ emergence, like you have a bunch of new tools now.
hmm. That's true. That's true. I do. And it's really interesting. I'm excited because I'm just like, yeah, here we go. Let's
So what
go.
is the outcome that you would desire today if you were getting to talk to your coach?
Uh, I think I got clarity on what it is that I wanted talking through it. Of course, was it, can I do it? That's not a question. I've proved that over and over again. Um, I
So
can
what
do it. It's
so what is the
the
actionable
relationship
step I can help you with then?
actionable steps.
I can check in on you with
Oh,
stuff like how we did before.
sure.
Remember how
Okay.
you helped me with my resume and everything? Like that was awesome. I don't know if that's something you might,
Me.
might find
Okay.
useful.
I do have actually a couple things. So this is funny. To me. I don't know if you know this, but whew, okay. With I helped you with your resume and I'm really good at helping people with their resume. When it comes to my resume, I am not always there. Like I don't always have the mental fortitude to do it. So I'm actually working with a like um a very, very successful like consulting group now that I will be represented by, which I'm really excited about. And the owner was like, "Yeah, send me your resume." And I was like, "Oh my God, I have to change it. I have to make it perfect." And I was gonna do like all this stuff, right? And then so it took me a week and I didn't get to it. You know, I was away. And then I was like, "Girl, you cannot wait anymore." And I just sent him what I already had. Um, and then he was like, "Wow." So I've been acting from this like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready. And I'm never going to feel ready because I'm waiting for some new feeling and it's like it's never going to come. So I sent it and it was great. And then so now my actionable step, I just wanted to like prepare the foundation so you know what I was talking about. Um, and now I have to create a bio about myself for the website and send a headshot. And I'm not good at, I don't like professional headshots. Like, I'm okay with modeling because you don't have to look a certain way, but I laugh because like everybody looks so like proper and whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. He's so funny, but I'm still gonna do it. But I was just noticing that I was just like, I like my closed eyes laughing and not looking like any typical professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not gonna do that, obviously, because it's
So, so what is that? What do you think is behind that?
oh, that's good. It's I think I have an idea. Um, it was like multiple things. It was, of course, like what I said earlier, I was never cookie cutter, never fit in. And then just like posting some, putting something that I like, not based on anybody else's standards. Because at this point, I'm like, what does anybody else's standards mean to me? Like, that's not true all the way around, but it's like I kind of want to work with people that align with that like me for me. Like, there's work I can do, but instead of trying to, like, I've done that a lot, like throughout my life, is just like try to, oh, well, you're not doing this and we don't like this and we don't like this about you or the way that you dress or your hair's too like or whatever, anything, insert any of that. And oh, well, your tone and the way that you talk and the way that you show up and ooh, too much energy. Like I just remember all of that. And it's like, ooh, what are you wearing? Or and I'm just like, I'm good. Like I am good
Yeah.
at my work. I'm good at what I do. I don't talk about what I don't know. Like I know that I'm good. And I'm just like, I just I wanna be somewhere where who I am is embraced.
Mhm.
And I know for me, that feels like a little bit of a fairy tale scenario because I know life, but um, yeah, it's that. Like,
Yeah.
just I want someone that's open-minded, that isn't like, oh, your professional photos shouldn't look like that, you
Right.
know.
So I'm curious then what a Elizabethism headshot would look like then,
Have you seen my LinkedIn?
not just a cookie cutter headshot.
I'm gonna show you. I have one up on LinkedIn, and I was just like, well, this is me being a rebel now.
I'm gonna look it up.
Not so much a rebel, but like I like this photo of myself and I want to work with people that don't see this as a problem.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
love that. That's not you.
Where? Oh, it's my this one here. I'll just pause my video.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. I thought, are you showing me something?
I just
Oh,
paused my
yeah.
video and it shows the photo.
Okay. So, a question.
Yeah.
Do you have one that is just like that, but your hair isn't covering your face, because that like, I think that would be perfect, but, it your hair is covering your face.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of cool companies, like fashion companies and, like very on brand companies would think is awesome. And so maybe that's how you'll attract them. Like it's very artistic. So, but I'm just curious, like what the ones without your face covered look like, just personally, like not recommending,
Yeah, I'll look into that. I just
because I love that picture.
thank you. Yeah, I have to look for one. But those are I'll look for that. That'll be like my next actionable step. So the bio, and obviously like that's my LinkedIn, and I'm going to be respectful and follow the format of their company or like, the consulting agency for their website. I'm not going to be like, put this photo. Like, I'm not going to do that. But as far as like, if someone looks me up
Mhm.
and is like, why does she have that photo and doesn't want to work with me? I don't want to work with them. Um, you know,
Do you think it's okay though to say, what do you think about this? Or do they have totally specific guidelines about what your headshot would look like for their
well, he sent
roster?
me the link. He sent me the link and the format, and I saw, everybody's like very like head-on, professional, a blazer. I have something like that. I can look it up. So it
Yeah,
shouldn't be
no, I would run it by him. I would just say, I love this one,
okay.
but it seems like you don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, running a photo by him?
Running that photo that you showed me, your modeling
Well,
shot.
well, yeah, but because ooh, that's a good question. Because I feel like I'm creating waves then.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to present myself as complicated or like
Right.
needy or high maintenance or,
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I get that. I think there's a way. I mean, how would you ask him that's not making waves though? You're a professional. You wouldn't be like, this is what I want. Like, this is it and nothing else. Like, I feel like you would be respectful and, just check in,
Yeah,
trying to set myself apart from others. And how do you think this would fly? Just conversation about it, not like anything other than that.
that's true. I'm like looking. I am not gonna look for photos now. It's so crazy, but yeah, that makes sense. That
Because
does.
if you really do just, if that's your authentic truth, that you want to call in those who are aligned with you, visual is key. Your visual
I
branding
know,
is
and he's seen my LinkedIn,
hmm
um, and he doesn't have a problem with it. And I sent him my resume, and there's people vouching for me, but I've also feel like everyone on the website has, a head-on, like professional photo. And because it's his, like their website, I feel like it's kind of like when you have an HOA, right? Like
mhm.
it's just uniform. And I respect that. I appreciate the uniformity of that look. So I'm not really trying to create waves there as far as like I don't feel like it's necessary, but when I'm representing myself, like this is what I want to do. But I'm okay being like uniform on their website because I think it's respectful. Like it's like if I went to I feel like it is his house.
Mhm.
Like I don't want anyone tell me how to make my house look or like move my furniture. So it's kind of like that. Like just like their housekeeping rules, this is their uniformity and I'll stick to it. But as far as like somebody like looking me up and being like, I don't like her photo, she's not, that type of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
So I
like that feels right.
yeah, so I think just from that conversation, you've really demonstrated a way to be yourself and also be seen and be heard by honoring the company's structure and still keeping your Elizabethism.
Yeah, that's so funny. There's got to be something to that. It's hilarious. 'Cause yeah, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. Because I do understand it. Like I do understand, when you look at, actor headshots or something like this, like they have a professional one, like, not a lot of makeup, then they might have a theatrical one and then
Right.
something more commercial. So I do understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And there's people that will, yeah, exactly. There's people that will be like, "Oh, don't do that. Do everything the same."
Hmm.
And yeah, but I'm like, I don't care. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
On
So
my
can
page.
we, yeah, yeah. So let's check in.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Did I get caught up in your story? Were we in your story too much? Were we not coaching the problem? I'm just curious how that was.
I think through the story, oh, that's interesting. I feel like I'm saying one of the things that we found. Um, hmm, we get caught up in my story.
I feel like I was asking you a lot about the actual story, like the photo.
The photo, yeah, that's true. I see like problem solving.
Hmm.
Yeah. See, but I think I get what you mean, and yes, and I feel like they are kind of parallel on some level, which is like reaffirming the acceptance of the individuality, which is kind of like an acceptance of the, I don't know if it's like the belonging part, just kind of like belonging, but belonging where I'm allowed to be
Hmm.
myself. So
Yeah.
I see both
Belonging
of
is a
those.
big one.
Belonging.
Belonging is a big one. It really is. I don't know. I struggle with that myself. So it's hard to see around.
Right.
Um, yeah, belonging. It really, hmm. And it's funny too because, bro, like, when does someone like not actually enjoy our company? Like, it's pretty rare, but we still have the thing, the loop,
Mm,
you know?
yeah, that's true. I mean, I've had like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely go into another story real quick because but relationships have been historically a struggle for me. And I thought, I don't know if I think in one of the sessions we talked about the all or nothing mentality of like we can only be we'll only have you if you have me this way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
yeah, so I've been maybe that's intense.
The all or nothing is giving me like undercurrents of boundaries that are too high or too, you know what I mean? Like,
Expectations,
what'd you say?
expectations,
Well, for me, like, my all or nothing would be, um, let's see. Oh gosh, let's see.
boundaries, and you meant boundaries, right?
Yeah, like for me, that would be like all or nothing. Something like, I'm not gonna hang out with you if you, not you, sorry. I'm not gonna hang out with someone if they are, smoking weed and blowing smoke in my face because I need to preserve this. Like that's a boundary that I have, you know? Um, but that's cut out like, a lot of friends that I have that, yeah, I can't hang out with them. So
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. That's something with relationships still. But do you feel like satisfied with the relationships that you do have?
yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm happy with that. And I also do have like girlfriends who date people who do smoke weed or do ayahuasca and things like that, so that's where it gets tricky because I won't get invited, or and then I'll find out later that, and then I feel that
God.
sense of belonging that doesn't that lack of belonging, because it's like, wow,
Yeah.
what do they actually.
Well, can they invite you to things that there's no smoking weed, or do they always smoke weed?
Their companions do, their partners do. It's like a thing, and it's fine, to each his own. And this is California, I get it, but um so yeah, I hang out with them without their partners.
Mhm.
Um but then even there's like a little judgment still, right? Because I'm like, why would you be with someone that's like that? They can feel my judgment, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But like I'm not.
Like it. So,
Yeah, it's not about it. To me, it's not about the fact that they use medicinal plant. It's not that. It's just that you're having people over. Not everyone, it's like a politeness almost. Like not everyone wants to inhale or be around
right, 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 right.
smoke. So it's it's more along that lines. Like, why not do it in your own privacy? Why do you have to performatively smoke your ganja or whatever it is, like,
Got it.
um,
I mean, that makes sense. I know. I feel you like that. I feel you. I've never had that issue actually. So that's really, I never thought of that because I feel like that with cigarettes. Like, I
mm,
don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't want to be inhaling your smoke.
yeah,
But then I never realized, like, I never really had that issue of like going somewhere and someone's like smoking weed in my face. So,
yeah,
wow.
or a
Yeah.
vape pen or something.
Yeah, so that does feel kind of like like if I wanted to smoke weed, smoke weed, and I wouldn't
Mhm.
be. I get it. I get it. That's interesting. And not interesting. It definitely feels invasive if that's not what you're trying to do.
Right. So just things like that that's my all or nothing with, you know, my
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah. It's reasonable. That feels very reasonable.
It's so reasonable.
So reasonable. I mean, honestly, I think my expectations weren't like reasonable, maybe,
Hmm.
because I think I was like growing up, I don't know. It's just, I guess I was very serious, like an old person and very emotional and like an old person. Not all old people are serious, so I can't even say that, but I was
Mhm.
very serious and, but also a clown.
Mhm.
And, yeah, but I heard something from one of my coaching sessions about when you don't have the hierarchy of needs or when there's not a trust built in your environment, then what is there instead is mistrust. And so you mistrust all of your environments. And I think I approached life from that way for a long time.
Yeah.
So like needing to feel safe, needing to feel like I did this. Did you reciprocate?
Yeah.
Because if you reciprocate, that means you care. Did you do what you said you were gonna do? Okay, that means you care about me. So it's like always validating like my importance to the the people I was engaging with, which is kind of where I was talking about the remnants of self-doubt when we first started talking
Mm,
earlier, but part of that. So
yeah, the remnants of self-doubt is something too, right?
remnants of self-doubt, mistrust, whatever. Not whatever, but like kind of intertwined.
How would I coach someone through that? Because I'm trying to think about, so to me, it makes complete sense that we need someone to mirror back to us and hear us and kind of hold us when we're doing something bigger than usual, when we're trying to go big and not stay the same. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So like I feel like the doubt is like the protective mechanism of the ego. And then if we come into communion with like you, um, I get back into my spirit and not my ego because I'm like, it's like a connection, a real connection with like someone else's heart. Like you're hearing me and it's landing, and then you can reflect back to me that, like, hey, that's awesome. It's all good. Like, let's do it. Let's go for it. And
Mhm.
it takes me out of ego. So then I'm just wondering, like, isn't it just that same old thing, like just making friends with your anxiety, just making friends with your doubt is like, oh yeah, you're there and I know your game and I'm sick of these games.
The games are wild.
Yeah.
I I had there was a mental game. It was strong.
Mhm.
Remember I said I had gotten certifications and all this stuff?
Mhm.
Um, I got my senior professional in human resources um certification. And I didn't it's known to be a really hard thing. And I passed it and literally had to have this exact conversation with myself. My mind was like, there's no way you passed that. And I'm like, there's no way I didn't. It's I had to go to Pearson. They take your phone, they take everything. You cannot have anything. And I'm literally having this conversation with myself. Like I there is nothing there's no access to internet because my mind was like, how did no, you didn't pass that. How did you pass that? This is not that long ago. It was a year ago. And I was like, oh my gosh,
Wow.
how deep is this self-doubt? Insane. I studied for it. I did I had the years of experience for it. And I was like, how many things could I have done if I had just made peace with the doubt?
Yeah.
Like, I know you're scared. We're doing it anyway.
Yes.
I know you're
That's
trying to
it.
hold me back, but we're doing it anyway. I know you don't believe me, but trust me. Like,
Yeah.
and then I honestly, like, when with the whole MIU and like the team TM and the science of creative intelligence and all of that, when I asked the professor, like the first professor in my first forest class, they call it the forest class, um, which is the SCI class. I keep calling it CSI. The TV show SCI. Um, because I was like, we were talking about desires, and I was like, how do I know that my desire is right? That did you mute yourself? Oh,
Yeah, because Wendell is
oh,
barking.
you're allowed to. I wasn't, I was like, oh, I didn't know if you muted yourself on purpose, but
Yeah.
um, the
You were
desire.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah. Is
The
how do I know if my desire is right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, and it was like from the pattern of having grown up and God always this exterior force, like always confirming or denying what it was, what my worth was, what my the plan of my life was, who I was going to marry, like all of that. God's plan, as they say, right? And so never having that own my own locus of control of like, if I can I do this, and waiting for the answer. So the fast forward, I think those are a little bit like murky, like complex in a way, but it was that same type of idea. So when I learned like, oh wait, my desires are like I am equal,
Yeah.
and we are created in the image of God, as it says. So we are creators, and the desire that I have is valid because it's mine and I make the choice, and it just gives you back so much of your my own agency. So that is kind of what that really helped me be like, everything that I there's no one else that's going to tell me. There's
Mhm.
no one else that's going to agree, that understands what it is that I'm going to make available. I'm going to make happen. I'm going
Mhm.
to initiate. So the certification thing was like, oh, this is a very real reflection of the type of mentality that had been holding me back.
Yeah.
So, why did I say that? The
Well,
self
be what?
the self-doubt part. The ego part of staying the same.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, because of coaching someone through it, and, like, that's what I've come to embrace is the love and the hate relationship, you know, that we have with everything is confusing, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Like, I was I hated having to do some of the things that I did as a mom driving, 3 AM in the morning to I hated it, but I also, like, loved it too. Like, I loved the service of it. So, like, just doing things anyways. Like, yeah, this is so scary. This is scarier than anything. Like, this emergence into, like, you're being a business owner who possibly, will have as many things come abundantly to you as you can imagine, as you can stick with, as you can hold, right? Like,
yeah,
that's scary, and you're gonna hate some of the feedback that you get from clients that are challenging, but it's like, "Yeah, but we're gonna do it anyway." You're gonna also love it too, I've hated that awkward feeling with clients and the squirminess that I get, but I can do it anyway. Um, yeah, that's just life, but, I think that's the hardest thing when we're in coaching sessions is that answer doesn't work. That answer doesn't help anyone's anxieties.
which answer?
This is life. That's just how life is.
Yeah.
Like, they need to come up with so much other stuff to get to that acceptance point.
Yeah. Right. Right. I agree. I mean, I never when someone told me this is life, that used to piss me off.
Mhm. Me too.
What are you saying? Uh, really interesting. Actually, one of the people that I used to work with before, I brought up an issue and they were like, "That's life, right?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not. You just accept that." But there's a level of acceptance that we
Yeah.
but it's the like that serenity prayer. That's what I think of like. It's that what we talked about last time, the feeling of, is this right for me? And then giving myself the self-respect to go check and go see. And then because I'm very much like a multiple angles person so that I can make a decision.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, I looked at all the angles, I looked at all the resources. Okay, I feel like I'm fine. I've measured my doubts. But I guess just there's that level of creative intelligence is like we refine things. We refine everywhere we go, like that was my objective, leave things better. We refined that. I refined my thoughts, I refined my feelings. Oh, I had this feeling. Where did that come from? Well, probably some remnants of the past. So I refined my feeling when I find that, oh, like, the group process was challenging.
Yeah.
I took I took that, and it's almost like, I don't know, like it's a different layer. Like each layer gets better. Like when I have the thought, I'm being very abstract right now. Having a thought and then taking it to work, like, and then being like, well, I don't know. It's just like making it better, like rewriting it. Like we were talking about neural pathways, like rewriting things.
That's all it is. That's what it's all about. That's the name of the game.
Yeah, rewriting things.
And the thing is, that's how we rewrite, yes, through thought, but really through the body being part of the new pattern. So that's why it's such a stickler point, because you have to get yourself into the position of carrying out the new action that you're trying to rewire. Like, um, your your new bio and your new way of finding clients through this management company that's going to represent you. It's like, oh, that is going to rewrite it. You're not alone. You're not doing this alone on your own. Someone's an advocate for you. And like, finally, an advocate for you, for your talent, for your gifts. Like, let there be someone advocating for you. And yeah, they make money off of you, but it's a clean energy exchange.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, that
Yeah.
feels. Thank you, universe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so cool.
So do you want to do you feel good? Should we end here? I know we're gonna meet again are we doing Saturday too?
You want to? Yeah, what's up to you? I was gonna see what you got out of class lately.
Oh my gosh, yeah, sorry. Look at me trying to avoid me. Haha.
I
Uh,
know we're
but
like so good at tangents, but
mhm.
working on it.
Um, I think that this week in class, this week in class, I've been learning a lot more through the exercises that we do with like how to probe and also stick with our clients through, areas where they're sort of not as clear.
Mhm.
Um, I think that it's getting easier. It's getting easier to be a coach. That's what I love.
It's so good. That was quick.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's getting easier.
Yeah, I know you're getting better.
Yeah, that's what I like. So that's a win. On the downside, I guess I would say I should have gotten more clients
How many do you have?
because I have four exactly. I have four exactly, but I feel like I could do more because, I could, because it's every other week. So, I think I could use the practice.
Mm.
Um,
To be fair, I had 9 and 4 didn't respond, so I have 5.
okay, okay.
And
See,
then
yeah,
there's one that I don't know if they're gonna stick, but
yeah,
just giving you a.
yeah. So I'm not too low or too high. I'm kind of, yeah, it's perfect. Um, yeah, and I think also the reverb from coaching is really helping the rest of my life. That's
Mm,
something I didn't expect.
nice.
Or it's like a side gift, you know,
Yeah.
helping my daughter through tough times, my sister, and just everyone. I mean, everyone's having a tough time at some point during the week.
Mm, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Able to help other people. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
and help myself. I did send, I think I sent you a snapshot of my EQ lab report, but
Oh,
like I did send out like a newsletter to some of my um former colleagues and districts that I've worked at, and that was big for me because for the receiving of the positive and attention, you know, it's like, hey, this is me now, and you guys knew me like as a baby teacher, but now I'm writing like a newsletter about how to be a heart-led teacher, a heart-led educator.
ah,
And that was like kind of like coming out of the closet,
yes.
like because I've literally written like 50 newsletters and sit on them. Sit on them. I did not send any of them.
Oh my gosh. But
So finally, um, I sent it on Monday because George, my EQ coach, he was like, okay, so when can I expect to receive a copy of your newsletter? You know? And I was like, oh, dang. So I added him to the list and yeah.
well, I want to get your newsletter.
Okay.
Oh my God, I want to read this.
Amazing. Okay.
Look at you
Thank
getting
you.
reach. Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love it. All things Susan. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll talk more too offline, but yeah, those are the good things that I've really been feeling into and staying with and living with. Like I live in a new place is what I feel like now. I live in a new place. Like there was December Susan
That's incredible. That's a good.
and yeah, now there's April Susan.
I got you because there was definitely oh no, there was a January Elizabeth. So different. You picked up on it. I was so mad. But I think, like I said, like the end of something was happening there. Oof, it's a
Yeah.
lot, but
Yeah.
beautiful.
Good for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. I love you.
Thanks for meeting. You want to stop the recording or do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll stop it. Bye-bye.